Okay, so I will be reading you a sexual fantasy, and it goes along with my Dragon Medusa tale. So, the poem is what I wrote first. I might edit it, but I'm not really sure exactly how. The ending, I feel like I would like to be edited. Anyway, I was thinking of printing them both out and giving them to people as like gifts. Um, I'm not really trying to sell it. It's only like 11 pages, the story at least, and the poem is like a page and a half. So here goes. In her bed there are fishes swirling and twirling around in the water which fills it. Oh, so comfortable, oh, so soft. He got it on with the sea urchin lady on her elegant metallic silver bed, on which he curved his large black wavy head over her, kissing her sweet neck that curved beautifully backwards with her head hanging. She sighs up at the ceiling and lets out a cry of joy while she holds him against her. The tentacles on her head all flare and move. Her oyster makes music when the boy puts his flute into it. Her loud mouth verbalizes a storm of words. Her scales, her nails, so red, sinking into his skin. Her blood flows and turns him into one of them, except bigger, older, wiser than her. She is older and a beautiful creature. She has picked her destiny. Her heart sings joyfully, as sweet as the sea. Ah, singin' sweet harmony, her tail whops the bed like a boy plays his drum. He sucks her thumb, even though he thinks it's rather dumb. But suddenly his face gets a maldron, and then realizes he feels not like himself in the state of an orgasm. And so, now for the story of the Dragon Medusa ladies. She sees the right man skating majestically atop the ice near the woods and the mountains one Iceland night when the skies are blue and the days are long. He is a figure skater and has beautiful blue eyes and black wavy hair. He makes a woman stare. She is always looking for the perfect man. She senses with her sixth sense and strong intuition that this man is the one she wants and goes up for him. But she has to bite through the ice with her sharp teeth. The ice cuts her mouth, though, and makes it bleed. Her blood is hot and melts the ice. Once she gets up to the surface, she snatches him while he is doing a sit-spin. You can hear her breathing. She has long eyelashes, nice hips, and perfect breasts. With her arms wrapped around him, he reacts by screeching, "Hey, what the hell?" His facial expression has a look of horror on it. She puts her thumb in his mouth, pulls down his pants and undergarments, and puts his male genitals in her mouth. It's quite a bold move, I must say, and quite a sight as well. A snake or two from her head touched his skin, and he was terrified. His body fell limp in her arms. He was so afraid of her. He tasted so good to her. She puts her breast in his mouth, which is hard for her to open. He awakes to find it there and her looking down at him, caressing his smooth hair. "You're beautiful. Don't worry. I want you. Please me. You're my love." She purses her lips at him and closes her eyes as she sits in front of him to show him her breasts and spreads her legs open to open him. And spreads her legs open to show him her gaping vulva. His eyes fasten on the sight of it, and his mouth falls open. He lowers himself and gets closer to get a closer look at her vulva and touches it. "I will make it okay. My snakes won't hurt you." She hisses at him like a snake. Here, come closer. She pulls him over towards her and gropes his penis softly in his bent over position. He looks up at her with her snakes moving around and hissing with a terrified but innocent look on his face and asks, "How am I supposed to have sex with a lady like yourself? Can you get rid of those snakes on your head? Cut them off, maybe? I think you've a wonderful body, though. Maybe I can taste your juices and see what flavor you are." "Let me have a look at myself in the mirror." She goes to her mirror by her bed and floats there, looking at herself in it. "What would I wear on my head, then? That would totally ruin my look or part of my persona. I guess I have the rest of me, though. Let me have a talk with the Sea Queen and see what she can do for me," she retorted. She takes him by the hand to her bed amongst some coral, and the darkness infiltrates the water from up above, since it's nighttime now. "Now feel me, caress me. I want you." She coaxed him in a soothing, luscious voice. She kisses his hand and rubs her breast against the side of his face. "To be with me," she added. She is without a male of her species to mate with due to a volcano blowing them all up during the last war. Every male had to go to war the past spring. Thanks to their sea queen, whom they considered a goddess above all others, they were given the ability to reproduce with human men, and the ability to not turn men or women to stone from looking at them in the eye. You might say their eyes flickered from Medusa style to more of a human quality. The Sea Queen sat the dragon Medusa ladies down one night for a meeting under the sea while she put her lipstick on, blew bubbles, and sang songs about being her octopus queen self. Meanwhile, she blobbed up and down, looking into a couple mirrors in her fancy queen realm. The dragon Medusa ladies were able to control their blood flow, so that when she had sex with him that night, she got excited and forced her blood to the ends of her hands, breaking through her skin and nails as she dug her fingers into his skin till her blood flowed into him. He moaned and reached his arms above his head with a strange look on his face as it happened. This made him more able to deal with her snakes and her teeth and just her whole being. It gave him some of her abilities, such as the ability to melt things with his blood and heal himself. I suppose she had some nice-looking parts of her, but she was a monster nonetheless. The Lord only knew how any man was supposed to be into these monster ladies. At least for very long. A seahorse man swims by and says the following: "Yes, it is her. She lives in the sea. She can survive the bitter cold winter brings. She breathes magic things. She seeks a perfect man to fill her womb. Her heart is full of bitter sorrow and lots of hope for the coming of tomorrow. Watch yourself. You can make her heart glow, and then you will know that she feels love." The dragon Medusa lady and wavy black-haired man played in the water, tumbling over each other. And frolicking as the waves rolled in from the ocean to the springs. They make their way to some hot springs nearby and make out underwater. He tells her, "My name is Nathaniel," as he grabs her face and strokes it in his hands. "Now what's yours? Can you speak to me? Or no?" "Mine is Meadowlark, otherwise known as Urla," she says. She tells him she wants him to be her mate and that he is so precious to her. She feels he is her match and wants a child. She asks him if he would like to get help making one from a young woman who lives by the forest. He tells her he will come with her. There is a man she runs into along the way who is an architect. He designs and builds a house for the two of them with tunnels and caves with water running through them. Nathaniel hears them talking and goes to where he hears them and watches and listens. A witch girl is playing a game of darts one evening in her bedroom when suddenly she hears the voice of an unknown entity say, "Psst, Florence." She turns her head in the direction the voice is coming from, but doesn't see anything, so she continues playing her game. Later that night, when she is sleeping, she is woken by a startling sound she hears from under her bed. At first, she just lays there still in her bed after opening her eyes and gasping at the sound. Then she jumps up and grabs her flashlight on her windowsill. She bends down and shines the flashlight underneath her bed until she sees a spider that is crawling and stops to shine her flashlight on it. It suddenly stops in its tracks when the light shines on it like a spotlight. Her mouth falls open and she can't find words to express how she feels. The spiders started to speak. Now listen, Florence, I have something important that I need to tell you. Hear me in. I am not here to hurt you, so don't be afraid. I know I alarm you. I have come to you from the lake outside your house to tell you a certain feminine beauty is coming. Don't be alarmed. She needs you. She is a creature, though, and not a small one. So let her in and talk to her and see if you can help her. Along came the dragon Medusa lady along a wooded path outside in the frosted snow until she was standing outside the door and stepped inside the house as though she were a ghost after roaring. The witch girl didn't stop her. Florence took in the sight of her on entering, though. This is the narrator talking. Yes, it is her. She lives in the sea. She can survive the bitter cold winter brings. Winter herself is quite a blast of fresh air. She blows all the fish in the sea before her south for summer weather. Her breath breathes magic things. Her heart is full of sorrow and lots of hope for the coming of tomorrow. Watch out! You can make her heart glow, and then you will know that she feels love. The dragon Medusa lady told Florence, Hi, I am Meadowlark. I am a female from the dragon Medusa species. I need your help. Can you come down under the sea with me, or should we stay up here and you can help me design a child with a man I found ice skating on a pond out here? I'll have to think about that. Where would be the best place? Perhaps somewhere in the forest under shelter if we do this? Why do you need to design a child? Why can't you just make one by a male penetrating your cervix? Asked Florence. Because I cannot penetrate a human, and I'm getting older, and it gets harder to have a child who's healthy as my species gets older. So can we at least try this to see how it works? I know you are mindful, said the dragon Medusa lady. Meanwhile, an octopus who wrote a witchcraft book stays up all night writing it, and his tentacles are tired from not sleeping. He's been holding a feather quill that shines in gold. Does he admire Friedrich Nietzsche, or become scared of him and act like a child? Both. He writes the following on his scroll. I love to play with fire. I love to play with hair. I love the way my mother's ways are infinitely unstable. Most mesmerizing constable, Miss Infinitely Remarkable. I love to play with smoke, fire in your hair, hot fudge, castaway eyes, blue shielded bys. Now where art thou, Vise? A status quo is on its way. Do you contradance? Do you put those dudes in a trance? Shall I pull off these pants and lick a jowl and make love growl? Not a word without a dare. Fonzie is in a stare. Fonzie is in a stare at long girls' underwear. They play with seashell bras without a care. You play with your long hair. My silver-toned claws against your skin. Not a worry, not a care. Finger your long hair with fingerless coils. Freckled stones. Oh, my heart groans and moans. The underlying face of the earth lies in the Macedonian earthquake nearby. This octopus is lively and likes to dance. It dances to enchanted music playing this night. The octopus asks, I wonder how much longer funny things will happen around here. It impersonates lots of underwater creatures, including flatfish. It makes the fish around it oogle at it. The long-armed octopus sits on a rock nearby and sounds like it's about to cry. It's got a cuttlefish and wonders why, since it thought it was enough to cuddle alone, never mind with such a squid. The day after the dragon Medusa lady comes to see Florence, Florence goes swimming and finds the octopus with the witchcraft book he just wrote and asks him if she can look through it for help with making a child with two different species. She had dove into the water with a special device to breathe with. He agrees to letting her at it, and she begins studying his new book, standing at a table underneath the water, but soon resorts to reading it on land. Her fingers stopped at a page finally that seemed to grab her attention, and the pages all landed on either side as if they had found the right spell. Florence said, "Come here, Erla. I think I found your baby spell. Now let me see what we need to do for it." She stares at the page. "Where is your man? Lean over and have him spank you until you ooze out some, and suck him until he comes, and we will put your liquids into a bottle with a cap. I have one here, okay? Now get going, and I will gather any other supplies." Florence swims over to a reef underwater to collect a silver plant and breaks it off. She swims back in a jiff. Erla whistles for Nathaniel to come over, and they start getting on with their sexual procedure. "Would you like me to stand here and grab your fluids, or would you like to do it yourself?" Florence asked. "We would like to do it ourselves, but we don't care if you watch," Nathaniel said. Later, after the spanking and licking, she collects their specimens from them and stirs around the silver plant in it till gold comes out of it. She opens her bottle of glitter around her neck and sprinkles some into the bottle, and voila! Out comes a baby, swirling into sight for Mommy and Daddy to see. Erla gazes at it and yelps with joy. She holds the baby close to her breast and kisses its sweet face. "There you are," Florence retorts tenderly. "Your new baby just for the both of you. How sweet and special. Now run along now. Don't be late for your next date." The baby looked up at its new mother and father, precious and new. It had a smile worth a million. Here's an alternate ending. "Can you cut those snakes off, please?" Nathaniel asked Erla. "No," replied Erla, with dread in her voice. "All right, well, I'm out of here," exclaimed Nathaniel. He runs for it. She looks after him running away and crawls into a ball, crying and heaving sobs that night. The end.